Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Becky and I like to read. This video will be the final video in my Fave 5 series, and it will be my 5 favorite middle grade books that I read this year. The first middle grade I really enjoyed this year is Seraphina and the Black Cloak by Robert Beatty. This is the story of Seraphina, who is a young girl who lives with her father in the basement of the Biltmore estate. If you've never been to the Biltmore estate, it's supposedly the largest privately owned estate in the country, maybe the world. I don't know. It's a really big freaking mansion, okay? I want to say it was last year my family was in Asheville, North Carolina, and most of my family had already been to the Biltmore, but I had not. So my sister and I stopped in. We didn't get to go inside the house or anything. We just walked around the grounds, which was still really cool. It's a really beautiful place. It has lots of beautiful gardens, lots of hiking trails, beautiful scenery, all that. So if you're ever in Asheville, North Carolina, and you're looking for a place to check out, I would suggest checking out the Biltmore. But when I was there, I stopped in the little bookshop they own, and my friend Kim previously read this book series and just loved it. So I saw it there. I knew it was set at the Biltmore estate, so I decided to pick it up. And I really enjoyed it. It is kind of a darker story for middle graders. So if you have middle graders who kind of like the darker stories and the spookier stories, I would highly suggest this one. If you like spooky books, but you're a chicken shit like I am, and can't handle the adult scary stuff, I would lean toward the middle grade scary stuff. It was kind of dark, and I really enjoyed it. I have book 2 on my TBR shelf. I just need to get it read. But yeah, I highly recommend checking this series out if you haven't already. The next book or book series that I read this year is the Theodosia series. This is book 1, Theodosia and the Serpents of Chaos by R.L. Lefevre. This is a middle grade Egyptian mythology inspired series, which I freaking love. I love Egyptian mythology. So this is the story of Theodosia, whose parents own a museum in London that specializes in ancient artifacts, and most of them are Egyptian artifacts. And one day when she is sort of helping them in the basement, she comes across this artifact that starts waking up some of the other artifacts in the museum. That leads to a lot of chaos ensuing. It does read older than middle grade, which I always enjoy. I always enjoy when books that are like younger read older. I often forgot that Theodosia was supposed to be like an 11-year-old girl because she felt more like a 15-year-old girl, but nonetheless, it is a middle grade series and I highly recommend it. The next middle grade I'm going to share is The Last Gargoyle, which I forget the author's name. Here it is. It's about a gargoyle. His friends end up getting murdered, and so he becomes the last gargoyle. During the day, he has this ability to sort of, not teleport, like nobody can see him. He can like sort of go outside his body. I forget what that power is called. But he can go outside his stone body, but nobody can really see him until one day he runs into this girl who can see him. He realizes that she lives in the building that he is guarding, and he wants to know why she can see him of all people. And when things start happening within the building, it sort of leads to an adventure. There's a mystery involved, so if you like middle grade mystery, this is a good one. I like books that involve gargoyles. I thought the friendship within the story was really cool. I liked the setting of Boston. I had recently gone to Boston, so I was like, ooh, a place I've been to. The next middle grade is one that I have previously talked about, and it is Echo Mountain. Again, I forget the author's name because I don't have the book here to tell me. This is a middle grade historical fiction. It is set during the Great Depression, and it is about a family who are down on their luck, as most people were during the Great Depression. Both of the parents lose their job and they move into this house on the mountain, and something bad happens to the father, and so the mother has these kids to take care of, but it really falls on one of the daughters in particular to sort of provide for the family and go out and hunt and gather and things like that. And she's constantly told not to go up to the top of this mountain because there is a witch there. Well, naturally, she goes up there and she meets this witch. But what she ends up finding is an old woman who is full of knowledge and who becomes her friend. It is a slice of life story. I've mentioned that before, so there's not a lot of things happening in the story. There's not a lot of problems they have to overcome other than just survival, but it is a quick read. I really liked the time period it was set in. I liked the familial relationship. I liked the very, very like minute fantastical realism that is in it, and it just added this little dash of whimsy to it. And I just really enjoyed it. So I highly recommend it. And this cover is freaking adorable. That's mainly why I picked it up. This was in the young adult section when I picked it up. It's not young adult, it's middle grade. And what has to be my favorite middle grade of the year is All the Impossible Things by Lindsay Lackey. This book made me cry. This is about a girl named Red whose mother is a drug addict, and so she's been put into foster care and taken out and put back in and taken out and put back in. And she finally ends up with this foster family who owns like a petting zoo. But while she's there, she really connects with the animals. She connects with another kid who lives really close to her. And she ends up forming a deeper relationship with her foster family to the point that she questions whether or not she really wants to go back to her mom. There is a fantastical realism aspect to this book that is much more prevalent than the last one. When Red gets upset, she has the power to affect wind, so she can create tornadoes and things like that, and it can be quite destructive, and people don't understand it. The title All the Impossible Things comes from Red's grandma. Whenever Red would say something is impossible, her grandma would tell her to come up with a list of all the things people once thought were impossible that are possible. So that's where the title of All the Impossible Things comes in. And it made me cry. I got to the end, it made me cry. It was my friend Yami's birthday, and I was like, here, have this book. Read it. Cry with me. It was my favorite middle grade of the year, and it will probably be in my top 10 books of the year. So check it out if you like middle grade. So those were my 5 favorite middle grade books of the year. I hope you guys enjoyed. As usual, let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these or if any of them sound interesting to you. And until my next video, I will talk to you later and read something great for me.